What's going on, everybody? Let's Talk Jets Radio. I am friggin' hot. Thankfully, practice was under the shade today. But yeah, just walking back to the car or taking the shuttle back to the car and then just driving back. The heat's just ridiculous still right now. But a lot to report on. Great being back at Florham Park. The vibes were just awesome. Aaron Rodgers coming back out. The Rodgers chants. Felt like we were back in last year. Hopefully, obviously, we could do it a little bit differently this year and stay healthy. But he looked good. I was, pretty much locked in on him throughout the entire practice, especially during warm-ups and stretches. Just seeing, how he was responding from the torn Achilles and, whether or not there was any lingering effects. But he looks like he's fine. He looks comfortable. He looks confident. Doing different play fakes and rolling outside the pocket a few times. Hit Breece Hall on a nice scramble on one. So he looks good. No concerns at all there. Tyrod Taylor, he had a few nice throws as well. Seems like they were both trying to get the tight ends involved a little bit. Ruckert, Conklin, they each had a few nice catches. Aside from that, I'm trying to remember everything off the top of my head. It was pretty wild today, just trying to get videos of everything and, keep up with like all the different social media pages we have. As far as the offensive line goes, there was no AVT in team drills. Moses was doing individual drills with the O-line. Then at some point, he jogged off with the trainers. I don't know what happened. I know he was out yesterday. But then he did come back. He just wasn't involved in team drills. So they had Max Mitchell at right tackle. They had Wes Schweitzer at guard for AVT. Simpson got pulled out twice for false starts. Xavier Newman came in for him. Tyron Smith, he had a false start as well, and then I think they brought in Fashanu for him. Fashanu did look pretty good, had one probably would-be hold on a play. Otherwise, it seems like, his footwork and things like that, he was moving pretty well. Tyron Smith he also got pulled over on one play by Jermaine Johnson. But you do love the leadership that you see from him and Morgan Moses. Both of them stayed at least 15 minutes after practice, just working with a lot of the young guys, and especially some of the guys that are, third, fourth string that are probably not even making the roster. They were still out there, just working on technique and hand placement and things like that. I mentioned the tight ends. Conklin had a big 4th and 5 on the last drive. It seemed like Ruckert was definitely involved a little bit. Him and Rodgers talked after one play where Rodgers got rid of it quick, hit him over the middle. Receivers, there was a Mike Williams sighting. He was still, he wasn't in pads or anything. He's still not practicing, but did see him on the sideline. Didn't notice too much of Corley. Garrett Wilson was obviously just the star of the day. Had the deep ball for a touchdown, 45 yards, first play of practice. Had another one that probably would have been a 50-yard touchdown, both of them on DJ Reed. But DJ Reed had probably a would-be pass interference right in the end zone, right by the goal line. But yeah, Garrett was awesome. Did have Sauce on him a couple times. Sauce did have one pass breakup. Sauce was not following him, but it did seem like there was one or two plays where Garrett lined up in the slot, and then Sauce kind of moved over. But he wasn't following him sideline to sideline, basically. It was as long as Garrett was on the left side, he was still on him. Otherwise, it was DJ Reed. So something to kind of monitor there. I know there were plans that Sauce was going to follow the opposing team's best receiver. I saw Darrelle Revis even commented on one of our videos, why isn't Sauce following Garrett Wilson? So hopefully that's something we see a little bit more of as camp progresses. Don't remember too much else with the offensive line as far as the twos and threes. As far as anyone that looked good or bad. Defensive line, Takk McKinley, he was probably the star of the D-line, had at least 3 sacks, one where he was just completely unblocked, number 68, I forget the guy's name already, probably going to be cut soon. Guy completely whiffed, and McKinley was in the backfield in like a second and a half, and then had 2 others, one that extended the play, like the play continued. It was a quick dump off, but it probably would have been a sack. But he was getting into the backfield quick, doing his thing. Javon Kinlaw, it seemed like, was getting a lot of time with the ones next to Quinnen Williams. I think Fodu was out there as well, if I remember right, at one point. Michael Clemens also getting a lot of time with the ones on the end. I kind of figured we would see a little bit more of Will McDonald opposite Jermaine Johnson, but early on, it seems like they're giving some of those opportunities to Michael Clemens. Didn't notice too much, as far as linebackers or DBs. Obviously, I mentioned DJ Reed and Sauce and what they were doing with Garrett. Didn't notice too much with the safeties at all. Got to go back and watch some of the videos. It was very hard trying to keep up with, filming everything, posting everything, and just trying to keep track of who's where. So that's why I try to take as many videos as I can so I can go back and watch them a little bit later. Returning punts, Malachi Corley was actually back there initially. He fumbled his first one, and then they threw him with the Gunners. They had Tariq Cohen back there. They had Gibson back there. and one of their corners, number 43. I forget the name off the top of my head. So those were the primary three that were getting a lot of the work. Corley was back there again a little bit later on. Kickers, punters didn't really do any work. That's kind of the usual during training camp. Other than that, trying to remember off the top of my head, but not too much else that was really going on. Lazard did have a nice touchdown to end practice, where Rodgers kind of extended the play a little bit. But yeah, overall good vibes. Got out of it healthy. I think that's the primary goal. I mentioned Tyron Smith and Moses, just the leadership that they provide. Spending the time after practice. I love seeing that. And it does seem like there is a little bit more of a business type of vibe. I know the players mentioned that yesterday. Just without the cameras there, without the Hard Knocks crew and everything else, it does seem like there's a little bit more focus, a little more attention to detail, and guys just kind of locked in. Having those veterans like Tyron Smith and Moses and guys like that, Rodgers obviously back on the field. I think that all helps to kind of facilitate that kind of environment that you want. So any questions you guys have, feel free to fire away. Quantez Stiggers, he had a nice would-be interception, but I believe he was out of bounds. Had good coverage on the play, though. Just trying to remember as much as I can, but I think that's pretty much it. If I think of anything else, I'll do another video later. I'll check out some of the film. So talk to you guys soon. Hope you guys enjoyed all the videos.